And my number one most wanted IMAYge Deluxe Edition whale reprint request, whatever we're gonna call it, is gonna be Woof Woof! Hey guys, it's me Marcus, aka the Maddogg, and we're back with another video, and yes, this is my real hair. And when you think about a whale, there's obviously big names that come from Marvel, that come from DC, but you never really think about IMAYge Comics. But if there's one thing that I've learned in the years since doing Whale Watch, IMAYge Comics can be quite ruthless when a book goes out of print. So coming in at number 10, I've got the Nightly News Deluxe Edition by Jonathan Hickman. I really enjoy Jonathan Hickman's Marvel works, and I like looking at the titles that a creator did before they got noticed by one of the big publishers. I believe this came out in single issues in around 2007, so it's pretty much just before he really got discovered. It's interesting because what I've read of Jonathan Hickman so far are these massive sprawling titles that are all interconnected and that take years to tell, so it'd be fun to just read something that he did that only took a couple of issues and see how his style changes when he's telling a shorter story. Number 9, I've got the Happy Deluxe Edition, a Grant Morrison title that really seems to fall under the radar, even despite the fact that it's got its own Netflix show. But I remember watching the first couple of episodes of that and I did enjoy it, and I wanted to go back and read the comic first so that I could give that a fair chance. But still, this looks like a pretty slim deluxe edition, but on Amazon it's already going for about 100 quid new. I don't really want to have to pay that for something that's less than 500 pages. But Grant Morrison's a creator that's really hit and miss with me. It's either I absolutely love his story, or I just don't understand any of it. That admittedly is mostly on my part because I am stupid when it comes to reading. But still, sometimes his smaller, more condensed stories are actually where Grant Morrison gets to shine more. So I'm talking stuff like Batman Arkham Asylum, WE3 and Flex Mentallo. So I'm hoping that this would fall under the same bracket, but unfortunately I just can't seem to find it anywhere. Number 8, I've got the Scene of the Crime hardcover. I'm not even too sure if this is oversized. I think it is. I think it does line up nicely with the rest of the Ed Brubaker books. This was another series that I didn't realise existed until a couple of years ago, but I find this to be a very unique title. It's Ed Brubaker and it's Michael Larkin, the first time that they worked together before they did anything on Gotham Central or Daredevil, and Sean Phillips was doing the majority of the inking, which is something that we're not really used to. So I think it'd be interesting to see this, and it looks like it's almost like a precursor to all the criminal stuff. So it's Ed Brubaker in the genre that he does best, but before he did criminal, so it'd be good to see exactly what the difference is between those two books. And it's also Michael Larkin, who is a criminally underrated artist. This one came out in 2012, and despite the fact that it is really slim, I can't seem to find this for anything under £70. But little side note, the reason I'm making this video is because one of the first videos that I made on this channel was my top 10 Marvel and DC omnibus whales, and since I made that video I actually found quite a lot of those, and a lot of those got reprinted, so I'm kind of hoping that lightning will strike twice, and by doing this video I might find some of them. Yep, I know, wishful thinking. Number 7, I think, I've got the Girls Deluxe Edition. I'm also going to include Ultra and Sword in here because all of these Luna Brother works just look beautiful. The worst bit is I actually had the Girls Deluxe Edition, and it's called Deluxe Edition, but it's pretty much an absolute. So it comes super oversized and it's also got a slipcover, but I had the Girls when I was about 13. I remember I brought it with a bunch of Amazon gift cards that I got because I did a bunch of surveys that you probably spend about 18 hours doing and you get about 3 pence. But I remember I brought this book, I read it, I sort of enjoyed it. I liked the whole sci-fi horror aspect to it, you know, being in this little town. And you know, there was a lot of boobs and sex in that book, so for my age it was really good. But then unfortunately a few years later I did fall onto hard times and I had to sell quite a few books that I really loved out of my collection. But this is one that does sting when I think back about it, because books like X-Men Inferno got reprinted, and I managed to find another copy of Thor by J. Michael Straczynski, but the Girls Deluxe Edition, the beautiful oversized slipcased hardcover, I can't seem to find. Number 6, I've got Lazarus the Second Collection. I'm a massive Greg Rucka fan, and I feel like him and Mark Waid are two of the most underrated writers possibly of all time. And yeah, of course, he's Mark fucking Waid. But we're not talking about him in this list, we're talking about Greg Rucka, because these Lazarus books all sound like titles that I would enjoy. I get the feeling that there is going to be a 4th collection because of the fact that there is still parts of this series that hasn't been collected, and even if every other IMAYge series that I've seen does end up reprinting the first couple of volumes when a new one's released. So this one is quite high on my list because of the fact that I do feel like this one will be easily attainable in the future, whereas some of the others, I'm not gonna lie, I don't think I'm ever gonna get my hands on. And you might be thinking at this point, how can you avoid a book going out of print? Well, firstly I'd recommend Whale Watch. It's not comprehensive, but it probably helps. And also make sure that you pick up books books whilst they're in stock, and one way to do that is to check out our sponsor, Organic Price Books. There's an affiliate link in the description, and if you use code WOOFWOOF, you will get $2 off your order. Number 5, we've got the Strange Girl hardcover. Now when you think about difficult to get Rick Remender hardcovers, you probably instinctively think about the Fear Agent Deluxe editions. But I picked them up pretty much as soon as they got released, and I've had them in my collection ever since. The one Rick Remender book that I don't have is Strange Girl. And similar to what I said about Grant Morrison, with Rick Remender, because his concepts are often so wild, he's very hit or miss for me. But I'd at least like to give this a chance, and it sounds like it's very demonic. It's got a lot of occult stuff that's included within it. And I think with somebody who's got a writing style like Rick Remender, and because of the fact that it only seems to be around about 20 issues, I don't really know off the top of my head, I'm at least intrigued with this series. But that completionist in my head is more annoyed about the fact that I know that this is pretty much the one and only Rick Remender book that I'm actually missing. Number 4, I've got Luther Strode. First and foremost, this is just a beautifully put together book. I've seen it in quite a lot of my friends' shelves, and I just want it. It's got the full series contained in this, and it sounds like something that I can relate to. So he's this skinny, nerdy kid who enters this bodybuilding program so that he can improve his self-confidence, but he ends up just going completely wrong. It sounds like the type of wacky, quirky story that I would enjoy, but I want it in the best format possible. I know that the individual volumes are readily available, and it seems like they're coming out with a complete series trade paperback, which admittedly I might just pick up and hope that I can eventually find this hardcover out in the wild. But this was a book that I saw come up in a Facebook group a few months ago, and I messaged the guy 2 minutes after the person that brought it. It was at less than cover price, and not a day has gone by since that I haven't thought about that. Number 3, and it might surprise you that this is as high up as it is, but I've got the Fatale Deluxe Edition Volume 1. As you might be able to see behind me, I've got a lone volume of Fatale, but it's the Deluxe Edition Volume 2. I picked this up because of the fact that I saw that in Ed Brubaker's newsletter, he hinted to the fact that they were planning a reprint of Volume 1. And I didn't want to be that person that then picks up Volume 1 and Volume 2 goes out of print, so I picked this one up. And then it's pretty much been said by Sean Phillips that there's no plans to reprint Volume 1, because I've got near enough every other Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips hardcover. I even managed to stumble on the Fade Out last year and got it in a mega sale at a local comic shop. And yes, even if I did get the Fatale Deluxe Edition Volume 1, I know in the back of my head that I do still need Scene of the Crime, but I know that I've got the majority of this collaborative team together, and I could at least sleep well at night. You might have expected this to be at number 1, but the reason why it's at number 3 is because of the fact that I feel like maybe we are going to get a reprint, because of the fact Ed Brubaker must have known what he was saying before he decided to say it. Unless, you know, maybe he wanted to break my heart. Number 2, I've got the I Kill Giants Titan edition. I remember reading this when it was coming out in single issues, and I really enjoyed it, but I probably haven't revisited it since then. This hardcover originally came out over 10 years ago, and I just couldn't afford it at the time. But when I compare it to the amount that I spend on books at the moment, it's probably nothing in comparison. But you know, times change, and I wish that I did have a second chance to buy this so that I could make it a part of my collection, because I remember really enjoying this. I loved the art, and I remember reading this around a similar time when I discovered Afro Samurai, and if I was ever going to make a list of just alternative books that are out of print that I really want, Afro Samurai would definitely be number 1. But I felt like in terms of comics, there wasn't really an art style that looked like what I saw in I Kill Giants. It would just be great to revisit this title, but I do wish that I could get it in the best format, and that is definitely the Titan edition. I'm almost tempted to learn another language, because if I wanted the French version, or the Italian version, or the German version, they were all readily available. But the English version, nope, not a chance. And my number 1 most wanted IMAYge Deluxe Edition whale reprint request, whatever we're gonna call it, is gonna be the complete Phonogram. I have no idea why I didn't buy this when it was coming out, because at this point I'd already read their run on Young Avengers, I'd already read part of Wicked and the Divine, and I'd even read part of Phonogram because I heard iFanboy talking about it. But times change, and when I look at my collection, this is one that I genuinely feel is missing from it. I feel like Kieran Gillen and Jamie McKelvey are a great creative duo when they're together. I do still need to read the rest of the Wicked and the Divine before I can judge that series, but I've not really been disappointed by anything that I've read from this duo so far. Again, as well, and this is one of the reasons why I really like IMAYge, but this is a beautifully put together book. Every time I see this on someone's shelf, I admittedly get a little little bit jealous, and I'm just wishing that they would do a reprint. But at the minute, it looks like even The Wicked and the Divine is going out of print, so if they're not going to bring that back, I can't really see them doing the same for Phonogram. So the reason why this is getting my #1 pick is because it's that combination of a book that I really want, but also I don't think it's likely that I'm either A, going to get it, or B, it's going to get a reprint. But this is just my personal list, and I'd like to hear which IMAYge books you hope get reprinted. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you didn't, why did you get this far? But until next time, just make sure that you stay safe, stay reading the best books that you can find, and stay mad, all you dogs. Woof woof! See you at the next video.